Good morning. Now, firstly, I apologise. I keep receiving messages from people asking me to put up a new video, and because it's a busy time of the year, I find myself very busy. So I thought to myself, this morning I will hopefully shoot something, and because of the weather, and it seems very popular to change your strap, I thought to myself, I'm going to change a couple of my mechanical watches and put those onto a leather strap, and so I thought I'd show you that. But first of all, I thought I'll quickly show you, and so I thought, why don't I show you what I'm doing with these guys here. And I actually went out the other day, and I did put on this G-Shock, so I'll talk about that in a moment. But let me show you, let's have a talk about leather straps on these mechanical watches. So I suppose what I should do is, I realised I should have taken a photo of the watches before, on the bracelets, before I took the bracelets off. Now this is for the Archimede chronograph, and of course this is for the Mark II. So we'll come back. Actually, I'll bring one of the Mark IIs with me. Okay. In other years, I've found that I've probably preferred having the bracelet on the watch head. So I suppose it's interesting why this year I've wanted to put a leather bracelet on, and I haven't changed the MRGs. I've kept those on the metal band, so I find that interesting. But I wanted to show you, some people are going to say straight away, in this warm weather, surely you'd want to keep the bracelet on these Mark IIs, and you do have a point. I mean, when I'm holding the bracelet like this, because this is a particularly good quality, lovely bracelet by Omega. It's one of my favourite bracelets actually, and when I initially got my hands on the thing, I thought the build quality was delightful, but also how the bracelet feels in the hand, and the way that all the metal finishes seem to be, you know, very high end and finish very well. And I love the polished sides of the bracelet. And for me, things like touches like that, and the fact that this chamfer is polished on the bracelet, this is one of my favorite bracelets of all. And of course the Mark II, this watch head is a watch that I remember looking at when I was very young, thinking it was fabulous, and it was in its first version then, in the late 1970s is when the first time I saw it. But this watch head, I've spoken about this before. You know, it's like a Chevrolet truck. It's you know, a V8 Chevy. It's a pickup truck. It's a tank of a watch. But there is something I really like about it. It's called, this is the racing dial, by the way. It's the grey dial with the orange indices, and apparently that colorway is so that at night time, and if you're driving a car, apparently that would help legibility. But you can see that also on the black and white one here, you know, that's very eligible as well. Now you might not be able to see on camera, but there is something delightful about the Omega's watches, and of course, you know, on many other watches. The dials have loads of interesting textures and a 3D aspect about them, combined with the colors. For example, at first you think to yourself, you know, it's just black and white, but in actual fact it's not, because the subdials are actually graduated and they're sunken in slightly. The dial itself is this matte texture with probably it's an applied paint indice, but there is something about those stick indices and the way that it's on the dial, the way it has presence, and there is still a 3D aspect to it, and then the way it contrasts and you've got this tachymeter bezel underneath the main crystal, and that's in C3 loom. If it's not I think it's I don't remember the reference to loom, but it's a common lovely loom that glows a green colour. So in the evening, or when you catch the sun, you get this tinge of greenish yellow loom in the tachymeter. And of course there's a little bit of depth there between the tachymeter and the dial, and that's illustrated with the racing dial here. You can see there's a slight orange hue, and that's because I believe there's an orange spacer between the tachymeter bezel and the dial. You can just see it, I think. Hopefully you can. Hopefully the camera's picking this up. It's really delightful. Anyway, I suppose I'm going on about the watch heads here. Actually, and what I will do is I'll pull this Archimede out. This is a GMT chrono. And what I particularly like about this is we've got the engine room display here. And it's showing a V8 turbo made by BMW. In actual fact, it's a Valju 7754, a GMT, top grade movement, a chronometer set to chronometer standard. And when I actually measured this, I think it was, from memory, plus 5 seconds a day fast, which is absolutely perfect. And you know, with accuracy like that, you really can't grumble. It's I know that accuracy for me, you know, is quite important. I do like watches to be very accurate, and it's one thing that I've really enjoyed about these G-Shock pieces, is because they're they call it radio controlled multiband 6, which means that it picks up a signal daily by a time sync signal in some countries, not all countries, or it picks up the signal via Bluetooth. I think Bluetooth's probably the more the way that we're going, because you've got Bluetooth on your phone and your phone is synced very accurate. But this is one of the reasons that I do I still do like my G-Shocks, is because when I pull them out, the time is always accurate. Now I thought I'd quickly show you that, because the other day I was going somewhere and I think I was wearing this one, and I took it off to put this on because this wasn't, the time wasn't set, and I didn't have time to even think about it. I needed to put something on my wrist with the accurate time, and I needed to set off. So, you know, in a day I will often move from a G-Shock to a mechanical watch anyway. But I thought it was very interesting, because also I picked this black one because it matched the clothing I was wearing. So actually that looks kind of cool, doesn't it? 3 chronographs, one stealthed out G-Shock full metal square. And actually this video is about straps, so let me go back. And actually before I so dark brown is a colorway that I particularly like, and you can see that the two here are using this buckle, this double deployant buckle, which is a common type of a clasp for leather straps. It's one that I particularly like because it's articulated, and my hands are apparently on the large side in relation to my wrist. So when I use other buckles, for example this type of buckle, sometimes I can't get it over my hand, but I mean this buckle is fine because the length of it is quite long, is long enough actually. And the reason I've got it on this strap is because I really do like it, and I've been looking at straps that follow this method. So what they've done is you've got these two pieces that connect to a metal strap-like buckle, and the deployant part of it helps you take it on and off like that. And I do like this strap, and I can't remember where I got how I got it. I just can't remember. It might have been from a vendor called Strap Code, and I remember I got it years ago, and I've never used it up until recently, and I love it. I love the push button part of it there, but I love the way that there's no keepers to worry about. But you do have to order these things with these parts roughly the right length, and then you can, you know, fine fit with the adjusters there. So that's a really, so this is actually, so you've got this type of buckle on lots of metal bracelets, which is, it's a very popular buckle, works really well. And then you've got this double deployant type, which is really nice. And so, I mean, for example, this is an alligator hair strap. It's a very good quality strap, and I think this is 19 millimeters. Yes, so this is why it doesn't get used very often. I think I used this in the past on Grand Seikos. I loved the Grand Seikos because they had this 9mm lug width, which I thought was a good distance. These are all 20mm. Anyway, so this is, and I've got another strap here in red. This is a lovely strap. It always reminds me of Kevin O'Leary, the red luster, and I've got it on a very similar buckle, but this one's polished. And this doesn't get used that often because it's red, and I'm not really a red strap fan, but it's okay. And then I have this style, and again I've got it on the same style of deployant there. And this is an old vintage aviator style of strap, and it's quite a chunky strap. And some people, you know, like the stitching method there. If you're wearing green for some reason, a green shirt or t-shirt or bottoms, or this brown leather with this stitching seems to go rather well. Anyway, so we're back to. I mean, the reason that I've got chronographs is because I am, if we're going mechanical, it's chronograph that I want. I don't really, I'm not really a two-hand date type of guy, although this is a Helm three-hand date kind of, well, this is a dive watch style, but it's a three-hand. So this is the only three-hand date sort of a watch that I've ever found myself gravitating towards, and this has a dive bezel, and I use that for timing potatoes and cooking and things like that. You know, I like the three-hand date if it has a bezel. For some reason, I'm probably a more complicated person. And if you see my other videos, you'll probably be thinking, yeah, this guy has a crazy sense of a crazy liking of types of watches. Anyway, so these are watches that I particularly like myself. They're all chronographs. This is the Mark II, of course. Now, I think watch enthusiasts that see this video will know exactly what this is. This is the later version. So this came out in about 1970, the original version, and it didn't have a date. This is the re-release version, and I think it was originally announced in 2014, and then we saw these on the market brand new in about 2015. And I don't think neither of these are available anymore brand new. So this is a discontinued model. But this is still one of my favorite watches of all time, actually. If we're in the direction of chronographs and mechanical watches. I still I love the heft of the watch head. I love the fact it's big and heavy. And I love the way that the dial fits together with its hands and indices. I love the proportions on the dial, and of course I like this Archimede 100-year celebration of its the company age. This is the Pilot chronograph with a Valjoux 7754 GMT movement, and the GMT hand is underneath the minute hand there. So that's why you might be able to see a touch of orange there. That's the GMT hand. And actually, another interesting thing is all these watches have the date at the 6 o'clock position. And for some reason, I know that many people will think, you don't need a date or a stopwatch or a watch in actual fact these days, because we have smartphones and we have many other ways to tell the time. But for some reason, I love it. I love complications and watches being complicated. I really do, and I love the engine, the display backs, because I love to see the engine room. And for me, I mean, you can imagine, I love those the all crystal cased watches, so that you can see everything. But manufacturing watches, watch cases out of crystal, is very expensive. Anyway, but that's something that I would love to have. Anyway, so this is, you can see that this is the tri-compacts configuration of dial. This is the normal value 7750 configuration, where you can see the sub-registers at 12.6 and the seconds counter at 9. Here we've got the seconds counter is still at 9 o'clock, but we've got the hour and minutes at 3 and 6. I mean, it's sort of very cool. I really don't mind either of these display types. Sometimes I've thought to myself, I much prefer this layout, because the full feature set of the movement inside, the value 7750, actually allows you to have a day and date window where the A is here. And that movement has been used in so many watches over the years. I think the movement is about 40 years old, and essentially the movements, because all these three watches have their base, they have their values 7750 base style of movement. The Omega movement has been really turbocharged, and it's been upgraded so much it probably is really, its own Omega thing these days. But this Archimede does have a value 7754 top grade movement inside it, and I really like that. I imagine that if you're a car fan, and you've even got to the point where you're swapping out engines, it's that kind of thing. What Archimede have done here to celebrate their 100 years is they've put this, supercharged V8 turbo engine inside their classic chronograph pilot case, and they use stick indices, and they've created this, and there's just something so pleasing about it. I really do. I think it's such a lovely watch. It makes me think I wish I had the 90th anniversary pilot, which was what they'd done is the indices weren't sticks, they were numerals, and they had it in the tri-compacts format. And of course with the display back, it's called the 90-year pilot chrono. This is the 100-year pilot chrono. Anyway, I thought I'd quickly show you some summertime strap versions that, maybe you would think to yourself you wouldn't really have these metal straps on these watches in the summer, because you normally do that in the winter, and you'd normally have the bracelet on the watch for the summer, because it's a little more hot and sweaty, and metal bracelets are very good when it's hot. But for some reason I really wanted to do a bit of a change, so that's where I've ended up this time. Perhaps I will put the bracelets back on the watch heads soon, although I'm not in the mood to do it right now. But I thought to myself, in answer to some requests on me by some people asking me to make a video, I thought, why not? I'm going to show you literally what I've been doing, because I just felt like it. Anyway, a quick video about changing your watch head onto a leather strap, and I'll speak again very soon.
you.